Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube NFL prediction segment, I'm going to be giving you my picks and analysis for week 4 of the 2017 NFL season. So let me get started. First game, I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers at home to defeat the Chicago Bears. Green Bay, number 10 in total offense right now. They have won 8 consecutive games at home, including the preseason. Chicago's lost 6 of 7. Last 6 of 7 to Green Bay. They've lost 9 consecutive road games. Quarterback Mike Glennon is actually adequate. The Bears played very well last week against the Steelers, and I don't think many people gave the Bears much of a chance. I certainly didn't. Of course, you know I had the Steelers winning it. So in Chicago, there are times they do play Green Bay competitively. This might be a close game. I still like Green Bay to win this at home. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, we're obviously will take him at home, especially over Mike Glennon. So anyway, well, the next game I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins at home over the New Orleans Saints. Running back Jay Ajayi, he had a abysmal performance last week. I think he had only like 16 yards rushing. I think he's going to look for redemption in this one. It's hard for me to envision him having consecutive bad games. So I think in this one, New Orleans, you look at them, they're one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. The defense never seems to get much better. It's basically the same old story for the Saints. Good offense, bad defense. They are number 24 in run defense. They're allowing nearly 127 yards rushing per game. The only hope for them, as usual, of course, is quarterback Drew Brees, who really has, the ability to be one of the most ruthless assassins at the quarterback position, along with Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. He can keep this team in the game with their offense, but I think Miami right now, I don't think they're going to lose back-to-back games. Right now they look terrible against the New York Jets, and I think they're going to be really irritating in this one and want to show people that they are still a competitive team. I'm going to take Miami at home. Now, next game, I like the Atlanta Falcons at home over the Buffalo Bills. Atlanta right now is number 5 in scoring offense. They're averaging 29 points per game. You have, of course, the very lethal combination of quarterback Matt Ryan and wide receiver Julio Jones. Buffalo, on the other hand, their defense has really looked great. They are number 1 scoring defense in the NFL. Running back LaShawn McCoy, he's been having some difficulties. If he can get his game going, they can make this a tight game. Right now, though, Buffalo, it's their defense that is keeping them in games. They played a very good game against the Denver Broncos last week, but now they got to travel on the road to play against the Atlanta Falcons, one of the teams favored to go to the Super Bowl this season, and I just have a hard time seeing Buffalo on the road being able to do that against the Falcons. I'll take the Falcons at home. Next game, well, this could very well be the toilet bowl game of the week. You have Cleveland is at home against Cincinnati. I'll take Cincinnati on the road. Cincinnati is only averaging 11 points per game right now. They're dead last in scoring offense. They, really, I'm only taking them on the virtue of the fact they do have a better quarterback than Cleveland, but Andy Dalton has not exactly played stupendous. They played much better against the Packers last week. They could play. I expect them to continue to play well. They were competitive against the Packers. They should be able to beat Cleveland. Cleveland is like 1-20 or 1-20 in their last 21. Overall, these two teams are combined minus 10 turnover differential. They're probably going to see a lot of turnovers in this game. This is probably going to be a very ugly game. But I think Cincinnati, this is their game right now that they can win. They may not, Cincinnati might just win 6 or 5 games this year, but I think this is definitely one they can conceivably win, and I'll take Cincinnati on the road. Next game. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys at home to defeat the LA Rams. Dallas looks like they're getting their mojo back a little bit. They played very strong in the second half against Arizona. Dallas is 8-1 in their last 9 at home. DeMarcus Lawrence is leading the NFL in sacks with 6.5. Ezekiel Elliott like he got his game back a little bit, but it still looks a little suspect. I'm not quite sold that he's going to be the same runner this year as last season. If you take away like a 30-yard gain he had last week, he only had like 50, 51 yards on around 20 carries. However, it's imperative that Ezekiel Elliott does get at least 20 carries, because I believe if he has at least 20 or over 20, Dallas is like 12-2 in those games. The LA Rams right now, I mean, are they for real? Maybe this is the game we could find out if they are or not, or if they're just a flash in the pan. Keep in mind they did start 2-1 last season as well in 2016, but the Rams are number one in scoring offense, averaging nearly 36 points per game right now. And this is a team, I mean, they will, I think they'll make this game more competitive than a lot of people think. I expect them to play very well. They're going to put up some points, but Dallas is at home, and they are, I mean, on paper, I still think Dallas is the better team, and I think the Rams, I think it's still out on them as to whether they are contenders or pretenders, and this will be a game, I think, to really see whether they are or not. So I'm going to take Dallas at home. Now, next game. Well, I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings at home over Detroit. It seems like when I go against Minnesota, they just seem to win. Last week, they surprised me. They had a very impressive win, I felt. Actually, Minnesota surreptitiously become the number 2 total offense team in the NFL. It doesn't seem to make that much difference if it's Casey Keenum or Sam Bradford. Casey Keenum played very well last week. They have 2 of their receivers are in the top 5 in the NFL in receiving yards. Who would have thought that? I mean, I know it's just 3 games, but Minnesota looks like could they be a surprise? Well, this game will be a good game, a barometer game for them, I think. You're going to go up against a Detroit team that, you know, had a devastating loss last week on a controversial call at the end of the game. A lot of them Detroit fans feel that should have been a touchdown. They're also +6 in turnover differential. They can capitalize well on other teams' mistakes. Minnesota plays very careful. They don't turn the ball over. This will be, I mean, I do believe they should get this win. Safety Glover Quinn and cornerback Darius Slay. They both got 2 INTs on the season. So, I mean, it's going to be a very good game between Minnesota's passing and the corner and the safety and the cornerback that I just talked about. I think their pass defense in general of Detroit is very strong. I think Minnesota just wins that out just a little bit, and I do like Minnesota to emerge victorious in this one. Now, next game. Well, I'm going to take the New England Patriots at home over the Carolina Panthers. New England right now is number 1 in total offense, but they're number 32 in scoring defense. This is uncharacteristic of New England. New England does look a little bit vulnerable. But keep in mind, Carolina is coming in. They're not exactly an offensive juggernaut. Tight end Greg Olsen, I believe he's questionable. I don't know if he's going to play, and if he plays, he probably won't be 100%. Carolina, the one thing on their side right now is they are number 1 in the pass defense in the NFL, and New England is one of the better. I believe they are number 1 in passing offense. It'll be a great battle. I think New England, given they're at home, I think New England wins that battle. I think New England's still going to get at least 300 passing yards per game, and really, New England right now, I mean, they're winning mainly with their offense, so, I mean, they really have to count on that even more so than usual, but I think it will come through in this game. I like New England at home. Next game. I'm going to take the New York Jets to win at home over Jacksonville. I mean, New York Jets last week, I mean, their defense came around. I mean, they only gave up 6 points. Jets, I mean, I didn't give them a chance against Miami. I think a lot of people didn't either. You had a lot of surprises last week. Maybe the Jets are a little bit rejuvenated. Perhaps they're good enough to be respectable, but we're going to find out in this game whether last week was the flash in the pan or whether they have a chance to at least be respectable this season. In Miami, I mean, they shut out Miami for nearly the entire game. I mean, I think Miami got basically like a conciliatory score at the end, and they I mean, that was basically it. Jacksonville right now is an enigmatic team. They are 2-1. They put on 44 points. They put on a very good, what I call ravenous Baltimore defense last week, and they amassed 410 yards of offense. But this is going to be a very big trip coming back from another country, and then they have to go on the road. And playing the Jets team, I think some may be underestimating a little. I mean, I'm a New York Jets fan. I know they're not even probably going to hit 500 this year. They'll be lucky they get 5 wins. But I think this game is an opportunity at home, playing against a team, might have a little jet lag. They may, I think they can capitalize on it. I do like the Jets to win this at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to win at home over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, Baltimore plummeted to earth last week when they gave up the 44 points and the 410 yards. They still are one of the best pass defenses in the NFL. They do have 8 defensive INTs on the season. Pittsburgh, another team, did not look good last week, losing to Chicago. That was inexcusable, I felt. They do have wide receiver Antonio Brown at 354 receiving yards. He's always a threat. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. But Baltimore has played, I mean, they have won 4 straight against the Steelers at Baltimore. I do think they're going to make this 5 consecutive games. I just think, I mean, the fact that Pittsburgh just doesn't seem as good as they had been previously, coupled with the fact that Baltimore, after that demoralizing loss, I think they're going to be being back at home against the Steelers, who they've had success with at recent years at Baltimore. I think they will redeem themselves, bounce back, and win this game. Next game, I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans on the road to defeat the Houston Texans. Tennessee has only allowed 2 sacks on the season. They're given tremendous protection for Marcus Mariota. I mean, kudos to that offensive line. But their Achilles heel is their pass defense. Is number 28 in the league. But they are scoring very well. They are scoring nearly 29 points per game. They're number 5. Total. I mean, they're really becoming a very good offensive team. Houston right now, I mean, J.J. Watt obviously is going to have to really play exceptionally well and step up in this game for them to have a chance. Houston did play well last week. They did everything but beat the Patriots, but the Patriots defense, their pass defense especially, is just not very good. It's not taking anything away from Houston. Given this and the fact that the Titans right now, they know this is the season that this is one of their best opportunities to win the division, make the postseason in a while. They have to be able to beat Houston in order to do it. I do think right now Tennessee is the better team on paper, and I do think that their offense is better than Houston, and I do like them to give Mariota good protection and win this game. I like Tennessee on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals at home to beat the San Francisco 49ers. Arizona has won 4 consecutive against the 49ers. They are really feeling the loss of running back David Johnson, and if he doesn't play, it will impact this game as well as it did, I believe, against Dallas last week. I still think they're good enough to win. It just won't be by as much if David Johnson doesn't play. San Francisco, last 17 games, 2-15 on the road. They did show some life last week against the Rams. They did everything but win that game. They put up 39 points. They only have 3 defensive sacks, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get to Carson Palmer enough to really even pressure him much. Or I think Palmer's going to have plenty of time to throw to Larry Fitzgerald or whoever he wants to, and that's going to be a key to the difference in the game. Arizona's at home. I like them to win. So next game, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win on the road over the LA Chargers. Philadelphia, I mean, they are 2-8 in their last 10 on the road, but quarterback Carson Wentz is playing very well. Philadelphia is number 1 in time of possession, and it's a simple fact that the Chargers have just not played well in recent time. 1-11, last 12 counting the preseason. They are one of the worst teams in time of possession as well. I think Philadelphia is going to dominate time of possession. I think they're going to have a lot of sustained drives, and I don't think the Chargers are going to be able to do much about it. And the Chargers just seem to find they have this uncanny ability to find a way to lose so many games. And I mean, I could see this being another close game that they're going to lose. So I'm going to take Philadelphia to win this one on the road. Next game, I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win at home over the New York Giants. Tampa Bay, Number 26 in rushing yards per game, but the good news is they're going up against a lamentable New York Giants run defense, which is which is obviously not very good. They're giving up over 153 rushing yards per game. The Giants' rushing offense is anemic. They are number 32 in the NFL in rushing. And quarterback Jameis Winston for Tampa Bay, he threw 3 INTs last week. I suspect he's not going to do that in this game against the Giants defense. They are at home. Jameis Winston's going to rebound from that game, I believe. I don't really see him having 2 consecutive abysmal games. I don't think he's going to be bad in this one. I think he'll be good enough for them to win this game. The running game's got to improve for Tampa Bay, and I think it will just enough to beat the New York Giants. I like Tampa Bay to win at home. Next game, I'm going to take the Denver Broncos at home over the Oakland Raiders. I mean, if you had asked me who was going to win this before the season started, I probably would have gone with Oakland. But Oakland, I think they were exploited a little bit last week. Their running game was not very good. They only had 32 rushing yards against the Redskins, and now they got to be on the road again against Denver, who arguably may be a better team than Washington. Denver is number 1 against the run, and they are only giving up 59.7 rushing yards per game. Linebacker Von Miller is going to want to redeem himself because, as you probably heard, he feels that he played a strong role in the team losing, making some kind of miscue or what have you. And I do believe that Denver's quarterback will be adequate and will be good enough to help them win this game. I like Denver at home. Now, next game, I'm going to take Seattle at home over the Indianapolis Colts. Neither one of these teams really look like world beaters. Seattle right now, I do kind of barely see them as one of those teams that still could be a contender. They've been a perennial contender. I don't know if they are this season. The jury might be out on them a little bit. Both these teams are 1-2 right now. Seattle still is at home. They're still very good home team. Indianapolis right now, they are a team that, they barely got by the Cleveland Browns last week. They have, their secondary is really Indianapolis. They have players that can make the interceptions, that can make the big plays, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that too much in this particular game. I think the Seattle offense, it started to get going at the end of the game against the Tennessee Titans. I think that's going to continue in this one, and I do like Seattle to win at home. Now, last but not least, I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs to win at home over the Washington Redskins. Kansas City running back Kareem Hunt is really become one of the best running backs in the NFL. Kansas City is 19-6 at home since 2004, and Washington in that same time span since 2014. Since 2014 in that same time span, Washington robust 11-15 on the road, but Washington number 3 in time of possession in the NFL. They're going to have to try to keep this away from Kansas City, have their sustained drives, ground and pound. I think they can balance that running game with their passing. I think they have a chance to win it. But given that Kansas City, there's something about them, they don't really stand out to people, but they are consistent winners. They are perennial contenders to win the Super Bowl. They should be one of the favorites to come out of the AFC. They just kind of go out and handle their business week in and week out. I think this will be another one of those weeks, and I do see them beating Washington. I think they're going to win by 10 points anyway in this one. It shouldn't be that difficult a victory for them, and I like Kansas City to win this one at home. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube NFL prediction segment for my Week 4 2017 NFL picks and analysis. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying, stay well.